The jungle was not silent, it breathed. Each leaf shimmered under the weight of 1,000 unseen things, whispers, wings, wind, and warning. Vines tangled like veins across the ancient stone, pulsing with life older than the names of men. And into this emerald cathedral walked a woman who did not yet know what waited for her in the deep. Dr. Alara Voss stepped off the boat as mist curled around her boots like smoke from an old funeral pyre. She was in her mid-30s, her mind as sharp as the blade strapped beneath her coat, though her eyes bore a softness, the tired kind, the kind that comes from mourning something for so long you forget what you lost. The expedition had taken weeks. She had crossed rivers to deep for maps, bribed warlords, dodged mudslides, and studied satellite heat traces that all pointed here, to this nameless green abyss nestled in the folds of forgotten earth. And now, it stood before her. An ancient stone stairwell, its steps swallowed by time, led down into the underbelly of the forest. Behind it rose something even more improbable, a temple built in tears, like a stairway to the gods, its shadow cast against the back of a lush, volcanic hill. Her guide, Kieran, stood beside her. Older, weathered, eyes that had seen too much. He spit softly to the ground, his fingers drumming the wooden prayer beads around his wrist. Locals call this place Marankala, he muttered. The place of the sleeping mouth. Alara raised an eyebrow. Mouth, he nodded slowly, because the stones whisper. They say the mountain has a voice, and it's hungry. She didn't laugh. Not this time. Not after what the heat traces had shown her. Not after she'd read the last words of her father's field journal, written 15 years ago, before he disappeared in this same region. If you ever find it, don't go alone. The stone remembers. The team was small. Just for others. Marta, a linguist from Brazil, passionate and reckless. A young tech specialist, Raj, who didn't believe in ghosts, yet. Twins from the Foundation's excavation division, silent and fast, hired for what they called rough entry. They set up camp near the base of the stairs. The jungle was thick, heavy with heat and a strange pressure in the air, like the sky itself was holding its breath. That first night, the fire didn't burn right. It hissed, as if steam rose from the very soil beneath it. Alara sat staring at the stone ruins, her notebook filled with sketches of the reliefs that wrapped around the outer platform. Impossible symmetries, neither fully human nor divine. Serpent shapes winding into eyes, eyes into stars, stars, into doors. That's when she saw it. A bird, small, brown, trembling, flew directly into the flame. No hesitation. It burst into light with a soft crackle and was gone. Silence. Not even the insects spoke. Morning brought the first true discovery. Marta and Raj had found a stairwell covered in overgrowth, leading down beneath the central courtyard of the temple. It matched none of the maps. It looked untouched. Carved into the lintel above the stairwell were 3 symbols, a mouth, a spiral, and a broken circle. Marta translated softly, the voice beneath. The return, the severing. She looked up at Alara. It's a warning. Alara's heart beat strangely in her chest. There was something about this place. Something intimate. They descended. The air shifted the moment they stepped below. It was cool, too cool. The light dimmed unnaturally, though there was no roof. Each step echoed as if in a cavern far larger than the stone walls allowed. The stairwell opened into a ritual chamber. It was perfectly square, flanked by 4 pillars. Strange holes pocked the walls, not for water or drainage. They looked like listening points. Marta whispered. This place was designed to hear. Alara moved slowly, reverently, brushing moss from the wall until her fingers found grooves, delicate carvings of a map. But it wasn't of land. It was a vertical cutaway. Of the earth, temple on top. Below it, tunnels. Beneath that, a spiral. And deeper still, something unmarked, only the symbol of a closed eye. She looked over her shoulder. This temple isn't the heart, it's just the gate. Kieran stayed near the top of the steps, beads between his fingers. He refused to step all the way in. "I've seen dreams of this place," he said softly, as if not to wake something. "When I was a boy, my grandfather said our blood came from the stone, said one day it would call one of us back." Alara's eyes met his. There was a kinship there, a quiet understanding that this place didn't just predate their lives, it belonged to their bones. As they explored the chamber, Raj activated his scanner, mapping the density of the stone. "Something's off," he said, confused. "There's a gap behind the northern wall, big one. Could be a chamber." Marta brushed the wall. "There's no seam. Doesn't matter. It's hollow." The twins began setting charges to break it open. Alara hesitated. Her father's words repeated in her mind. "Don't go alone." The stone remembers, but the ache inside her, that endless question of what happened to him, burned stronger than her fear. She nodded. "Do it." The explosion was small but precise. Dust filled the air. When it cleared, there stood a narrow passage, dark, cold, waiting. Raj laughed nervously. "Ladies first." Alara stepped in without a word. The passage was narrower than expected, barely wide enough to move through without brushing both walls. The stone felt warm, almost like skin. They walked for several minutes in silence. Then, a voice, faint, almost playful. "Help me." Alara froze. It was her voice, but she hadn't spoken. The others heard it too. Marta whispered, "What the hell?" The passage widened into a chamber, empty, except for one thing, a small leather-bound journal lying on a cracked stone pedestal, a journal that looked exactly like the one her father used to carry. Alara picked it up. Her hands trembled. She opened to the first page. "Alara, if you're reading this, I'm sorry. I should never have come alone." The ink was old, the pages, weathered but intact. His name signed at the bottom. Her breath caught. 15 years lost, and here, in the belly of the world, was proof he had made it farther than anyone imagined. The journal's last entry was brief, a single line written in a shaking hand. "It doesn't speak in words. It speaks in us." Behind her, the stone wall began to hum. And something deeper, something beneath the stone, stirred awake. The chamber pulsed. No light, no wind, yet something alive moved just beneath the stone skin of the walls. Slow, deliberate, like an ancient heart remembering how to beat. Alara stood frozen, her father's journal clutched tightly in her hands. The others fanned out cautiously, each step echoing as though the stone amplified more than sound, as if it amplified thought. Marta, her torch flickering, whispered, "These carvings, they weren't here when we walked in." The team turned. The walls were changing. Lines etched in solid rock, delicate and glowing with a dull amber light, like veins beneath the skin of the world. "They're forming patterns," Raj muttered, lifting his scanner. "My tech's freaking out. Nothing stable. It's like the stone is writing itself." Alara stepped forward, tracing one glowing spiral with her fingertips. "This isn't writing," she whispered. "It's a memory." They emerged from the passage into a vast antechamber. The ceiling arched high above them, ribbed like the inside of a whale's skeleton, each pillar covered in shifting sigils. At the center stood a rotating stone mechanism, circular and locked in place with interlocking rings. A puzzle, a lock. Kieran, who had reluctantly followed, exhaled sharply. "I've seen this in dreams. The circle of returning." Alara glanced back. "You're sure?" He nodded. "My grandfather spoke of it. A gate that opens only if the stones remember you. Only blood can open it." The thought disturbed her more than she showed. Her father's journal said nothing of this. Only hints, half-truths, warning signs buried under riddles. Marta and Raj began examining the mechanism while Alara wandered the chamber's perimeter, drawn to the carvings, pictographs layered over ancient cuneiforms and something even older, geometric scripts woven through the stone like DNA. She pressed her hand against one symbol, a triangle with a teardrop inside it. A low hum surged beneath her skin, buzzing in her teeth. A vision, sudden, blinding. The chamber melted away and she stood in a jungle at night. Thousands of torches surrounded the temple. Shadows moved, chanting in a tongue that vibrated like thunder. Above them hovered a floating black mirror, and from within it emerged herself, but her face was older, hardened, eyes glowing gold, then darkness. She gasped and fell back, coughing. Hand burned. You okay? Marta rushed over. Alara shook her head. It showed me something. Like a memory I didn't live. Raj, startled, said, the stone reacts to touch. We should stop messing with it. This isn't just history. It's single quotes active, Kieran murmured. This place was never meant to be discovered. It wasn't forgotten. It was buried. They returned to the mechanism. Marta cracked her knuckles. It's a puzzle. 7 rings. Each has symbols that rotate into different alignments. Maybe a language. Raj looked at his tablet. Scanner shows a hollow space beneath this room. Big one. Could be an entire complex under us. They worked for hours. As night fell outside, something in the air thickened. Not the humidity, but a presence. Raj looked up suddenly. Did you hear that? Everyone froze. A voice. Whispers. Dozens of them. In different languages. All coming from the walls. Not loud, but intimate. Close to close. The whispers overlapped until they formed a single phrase. The stone remembers the one who forgets. Kieran grabbed his beads again. That's the test. The gate requires sacrifice of memory. Only those who forget who they are may pass. Alara felt sick. Her mind darted to her father's journal. The last line again. It doesn't speak in words. It speaks in us. What had her father given up to get this far? That night, one of the twins, Amir, was missing. Gone without a sound. The other, Ayaz, found only a smear of dust where Amir had slept. Then the screaming started. Ayaz staggered back from the temple steps, clutching his head. He's speaking inside me. My brother, he's in the walls. He's in the damn walls. Raj tried to calm him down. Marta whispered to Alara, we need to leave. This place isn't dead. It's alive, but Alara couldn't turn back. Not now. Not after everything. She stared at the rotating rings. Later, that night, while the others slept, she stayed awake reading her father's journal by lantern light. He had made it this far. He wrote about a vision of a spiral beneath the temple, and a place he called the Hollow Heart. The final pages had no words, only drawings. One was of the mechanism they just uncovered, but the last was different. A single circle. No doors. No symbols, only a blackened eye carved in the center. And beneath it, in his handwriting, if I open it, I'll forget her. If I don't, I lose everything. Her breath caught in her throat. He wasn't talking about knowledge. He was talking about Elara. By dawn, the mechanism was open. Each ring aligned with its mirrored symbol, revealing a central indentation shaped like a human palm. Without a word, Alara stepped forward and placed her hand inside. The stone hissed, not like gas, but like breath. Then the room began to move. The floor itself split, revealing a spiral staircase, descending far deeper than their scanners had ever shown. From below came a soft, echoing whisper. Alara, she jerked back. That was her father's voice. Kieran grabbed her shoulder. No one goes alone. That's what your journal said. But Alara had already started descending. I don't have a choice. They moved down slowly. The staircase spiraled endlessly, every wall covered in murals too smooth to be carved, more like coral reefs, fossilized memories. At one point, Marta stopped, touching a scene of a woman giving birth beneath a sky full of stone mirrors. This shows creation, she said, stunned. But the woman dies, and the child becomes part of the ground. Alara replied, it's not a birth. It's a sacrifice. Farther down, the stairs ended in a narrow platform overlooking an impossibly vast underground cavern. The ceiling rose into darkness. At the center was an inverted pyramid made of the same black stone, floating above a glowing pool. Chains of golden light tethered it in place. Beneath it pulsed something that Looked like a stone heart. Raj whispered. That shouldn't exist. The physics of that. His voice cut off. The whispers were louder now. Surrounding them, inside them, the chamber didn't echo sound. It echoed memory. Marta collapsed, gripping her head. It's showing me things. My mother, my dog from when I was 5. I can't remember what I'm doing here. Kieran lifted her up. This place feeds on memory. It's the toll. Alara approached the edge of the platform. On a nearby plinth rested a stone mirror. Not reflective, but swirling like smoke trapped beneath glass. She touched it. Her father's voice came again, clearer now. Alara, please, don't come farther. I made a mistake. I thought I could see the truth and still hold on to you. The stone pulsed. Alara closed her eyes and whispered, Where are you? No answer. Only the echo of her voice, slightly delayed and slightly altered. Alara, I'm already inside. Behind her, the stone floor split open with a low grinding roar. The pyramid above them shifted, descending slowly. Raj screamed, backing away. Something's coming down. The glowing pool below exploded with light as a figure began to rise from its center. Tall, humanoid, but featureless. A body of dust and stone, held together by memory alone. Kieran stepped between it and Alara. It's not real. It's made from us. The thing spoke, not with a mouth, but with their own voices, all at once. It said, You are the key. Your forgetting is the door. Alara stepped forward, defiant. I want my father. The thing tilted its head. Give me your name, and I will give you his. She hesitated. And the story paused as the stone pulsed, waiting. She did not speak her name, not yet. The dust formed being flickered, trembling like a thought undone. The moment passed, but the choice remained, and the cavern began to groan, as if the mountain itself was holding its breath. Alara turned away from the stone entity and faced her team. Marta's hands trembled. Raj sat with his back to a pillar, whispering fragments of memories like prayers he couldn't finish. Only Kieran stood steady, watching her, a silent strength in the chaos. What now? Marta asked, voice thin. This place. It's not architecture. It's sentient. It remembers. Alara opened her father's journal again. The pages near the end had changed. New ink. Fresh. It was impossible, but there it was, in her father's unmistakable hand. It's not a gate to knowledge. It's a mirror of grief. The deeper you go, the more it reflects back what you are, and in the deepest place, it shows you what you were meant to be. The platform shuddered. Beneath them, the floating pyramid began to descend slowly, drifting on unseen currents toward a spiral gate in the floor, glowing with the same dull amber as the wall glyphs. Kieran whispered, It's opening. Alara stepped forward. I think I'm the one it's been waiting for. Marta grabbed her arm. You'll forget who you are. Alara met her eyes. If I lose myself, make sure this place stays buried. They descended into the spiral. This wasn't a staircase. It was a tunnel of time. The walls pulsed with living stone. Each step triggered flashes of memories not her own, a child raised in a forest kingdom with no sky. Another woman sealing her family inside stone chambers to protect them from a flood of voices. A people who carved their thoughts into rock so they would never forget. Until forgetting was all that saved them. Alara staggered. She couldn't tell if they were hallucinations or echoes of ancient lives embedded in the structure. Then, they stepped into it. The temple beneath the temple. It wasn't grand. It wasn't golden. It wasn't even symmetrical. It was a circular chamber, cracked and forgotten. The stone warped from centuries of pressure, or perhaps pain. In the center, a ring of 12 stone thrones surrounded a glowing pit. Each throne held a lifelike statue, crumbling, but impossibly detailed. Human, yet unfamiliar. Their eyes were open, and in one empty throne, a small, rusted locket. Alara stepped forward and picked it up. Inside was a sketch, faded but unmistakable, her father, and her. She was maybe 6. Laughing, mouth wide in joy, he was holding her. In one arm, pointing at the stars. Tears welled in her eyes. He had been here, he had sat in that throne, and he had left this behind. The walls trembled, stone peeled away like skin shedding, revealing a new layer beneath obsidian mirrors that rippled with movement. They didn't reflect bodies, they reflected choices. One mirror showed Alara as a girl, weeping in a field, alone. Another, as an old woman in a library, forgotten but brilliant. Another, holding her father's hand as they stepped into this very chamber together. These were not memories. They were forks in time. Raj stumbled back. They're showing us who we could have been. Kieran's face was tight. No, who we still might become. Then the voice returned. Not from the walls, from inside them. You seek what you are not ready to lose. The cost is self. The reward is all that came before. A portion of the floor cracked open, revealing a shallow pool of light. Not water, not fire, something in between. From it rose a figure, not the dusty shape from before. This one had form, a man, older, weak, barely standing. His eyes met hers. ELARA ... double quotes. Her heart cracked. It was him. Her father, gaunt, real, somehow, impossibly, alive. She ran to him and caught him before he fell. He smiled weakly. You came farther than I ever did. The temple let me see. Only enough to want more. Tears fell freely now. Why didn't you come back? His hand trembled against her cheek. Because to leave, I had to forget you. And I couldn't. He looked at the glowing pool. It offers you everything. All knowledge. Every secret buried beneath centuries of blood and bone. But it takes your past, your name, your joy, and your sorrow. He looked into her eyes. I remembered you. And the gate stayed closed. The chamber responded, a deep, resonating hum. The statues began to breathe. Dust fell from their lashes. Their chests rose. Alara turned as the mirror walls shimmered. Images of war, flood, fire, civilizations consumed by their own hunger for knowing more than they could hold. Kieran backed away slowly. They weren't gods. They were people who asked too much of the earth. Raj whispered, this place has not a temple. It's a warning. Her father clutched her hands. I've held onto your name for 15 years. I need you to do what I couldn't. What? She breathed. Forget me. The floor cracked wider. The glowing pit began pulling at them, like gravity, like time collapsing. Kieran shouted, we have to get out now. Alara stood at the edge of the light. The chamber began to lift, as if rising back to the surface. The voice spoke once more. Speak the name you love the most, and enter. She whispered, Father. And the light surged. She saw everything. The entire history of the temple carved, erased, rewritten. Thousands of voices begging to remember. Millions more begging to forget. She saw the first builders. She saw the skyfall. She saw her father, trapped in a memory loop, reliving the day he left her again and again, unable to move forward. She saw the future. If she let this temple live, others would come, governments, armies. They would tear the memory from the earth and wear it like gold. She had to bury it. She awoke in the circle of thrones. Alone. The others were gone. At her feet lay the pendant her father had worn. Its stone now dull, as if emptied. The mirror walls were cracking. She stood, walked to the spiral glyphs, and placed the pendant inside a central slot. The temple shook. A voice echoed in her ears. His voice. Goodbye, little light, she whispered. I'll remember for both of us. Stone fell like rain. The chamber collapsed inward. Water surged. Roots from above punched through the ceiling like grasping fingers. She ran. Back through the tunnel. Back through the platform. Back to the outer chamber, where sunlight broke through in golden beams. Only Kieran waited for her, blood on his arm. Silent. You closed it, he asked. She nodded. It's gone. She looked back once, and smiled through her tears. Yes, behind them, the earth shuddered one last time and then stilled. The jungle was already growing over it. Asterisk.